The story begins with a world setting in 2093, where monsters of unknown origin suddenly appear and start attacking humans. Crime around the world is increasing dramatically year by year and causing chaos everywhere. Until finally, 2 years later, the first superhero in human history called Zero finally appeared and defeated the monster. Soon after the appearance of Zero, who managed to defeat the monsters, other superheroes also appeared, and together they tried to eradicate the evil that had been rampant throughout the world, and gradually succeeded in bringing back world peace, so that all mankind could live in safety. However, after world peace was achieved and the situation became safe and under control, Zero suddenly disappeared and is now known to have lived a normal life while hiding his powers. Zero, whose real name is Lin Jia, now lives with his younger sister Xiao Lin, who he thinks is very fussy because she always tells Zero to find a permanent job to help him make ends meet. Zero was upset and then left the house to find a job. But instead he was involved in a fight that took place between a young man named Shishin against a group of bandits led by a man nicknamed Black Hand. Shishin is a hero level C who tries to get a promotion to raise his level to level B. Because of this goal, Shishin, who seems quite great, faces the Black Hand, apparently has paid the Black Hand and his gang to give up when they fight each other. However, because of Zero's intervention in their battle, Black Hand finally went berserk and issued his distinctive movements. Shishin became overwhelmed. Not long after, a young man named John Chen, who was a hero level E, with confidence challenged Black Hand to fight. Because Chen's ability is lower than Shishin, he can be easily defeated by Black Hand. Before Chen was killed by Black Hand, who seemed very annoyed with him, Zero then took out his weapon and was able to easily take down Black Hand with just one hit. Seeing Zero's great strength, Chen immediately begged Zero to be willing to be his partner. Chen even dared to follow Zero to his house and captivate him with the fantastic salary and bonuses that Zero would get if he were willing to be his hero and assistant. Without thinking, Xiaolin immediately agreed to Chen's offer and forced Zero to accept the job offer. The next day, Chen takes Zero to the Heroic Association building, where Zero will take a series of competency tests before he gets the title of hero recognized by the government. Chen explains a bit about the history of a superhero named Zero who has saved the world with the help of a team of SS-level superheroes. But Zero himself doesn't seem to remember that he ever fought alongside other heroes, because he only remembers fighting alone. In the first competency test, Zero will face a man named Yatan. Seeing Zero's usual look, Yatan slightly underestimated the power that Zero had. But unexpectedly, Zero was able to withstand Yatan's attack with ease and managed to defeat him without bothering to use his great strength. After being defeated by Zero, Yatan was taken to the hospital for treatment as he was badly injured in the head. A woman named Miss Dong, who accompanies Yatan, informs that Yatan has been defeated by an ordinary young man whose strength is probably at least level A. Zero turns out to get a low score on the written exam. Even Zero wrote that he didn't want to be a hero at all. Chen finds out that Zero scores low on the written exam and makes fun of him. But since Zero is now officially a hero, Chen then asks Zero to be his partner. But Zero immediately refused Chen's request, because he thought having a partner would only make it difficult for him in battle. Zero, who was about to leave, accidentally saw a young man named Yunqing who was bullied by a group of people just because he really admired the superhero Zero. The bullies, who call themselves the Golden Triangle, actually don't like Zero, and instead mock Zero, who they thought was dead. Chen, who heard this, then advanced to fight them. However, before Zero could reply to them, a young man named Shizhen appeared and said something to them. Strangely, the Golden Triangle group looked scared when they faced Shizhen, even though he is an ether hero who is under them. Not wanting to deal with Shizhen, the group ended up running away from there. They finally knew each other.
我叫林杰，他是战臣。
When Zero found out that Shizhen had the same hobby, Zero seemed enthusiastic and offered Shizhen to partner with him. After that, the four of them then formed a group. But then Shizhen reveals that the reason the Golden Triangle stays away from him as well as everyone else is because being around him would be bad luck for all of them. Sure enough, not long after they got acquainted with each other, suddenly Shizhen accidentally destroyed the room and caused Yanqing to be seriously injured. Zero and Chen then asked Shizhen to keep their distance from them, so that they wouldn't have any unwanted misfortune. After Yanqing recovers from his injuries, Zero and his team of heroes get their first task, which is to capture a group of criminals who illegally conduct biochemical transactions by trading their monsters. Zero and his team manage to thwart the transaction, but they must deal with a dung monster being traded. Even though using only a small amount of his strength, Zero was able to defeat the monster so that it bounced far into the densely populated settlement, which then caused chaos there. Chen and Zero then teamed up to defeat the monster. With Zero's power and Chen's cutting-edge technology, they finally managed to defeat the monster. But unexpectedly, the monster then turned into a little girl. Not knowing where to take her, Zero then took the girl to his house, where Zero assumed that the girl was a victim of a criminal gang experiment. Through the information obtained from Miss Dong, Zero finally learns that there is a genetic evolution company that has set up a charity to use abandoned homeless children to be the subjects of their experiments, and one of them is a little girl who was saved by Zero and his team. Miss Dong also informed that the company conspired with the president of the Heroic Association, a man named Ouyang Rui, so that it was very difficult for them to stop the cruel experiments carried out by the genetic evolution company. Zero, who heard this, suddenly became angry, and his anger immediately peaked until it shook the place and almost killed Chen and Miss Dong, who were nearby. Since Miss Dong said that the company might send assassins to get the girl back, Zero finally decided to take the girl with him. But Xiao Lin, who knew that Zero took a little girl home, assumed that Zero had kidnapped her. After Zero and his team explained everything to Xiao Lin, she understood and was happy to accept the girl's presence in their home. Even Xiao Lin is so familiar with him. So Xiao Lin named him Mumu and considered it as part of their family. When Xiao Lin brought Mumu to buy some clothes, suddenly Zero and his team were approached by a golden triangle intending to take them and Mumu on orders from Ouyang Rui. The golden triangle, which initially underestimated Zero and his team because they were only level E heroes, turned out to be easily defeated by Zero in a fairly short time. Ouyang Rui learned that his men had been defeated by Zero and his team suddenly became upset. But the genetic director of the Involution Company, a man named Gon, apparently has prepared another plan to defeat Zero and his team and get back their valuable experimental subjects. That night, a female killer ordered by the company director then infiltrated Chen's house to kill him. But they were both involved in an embarrassing incident that made the woman run away from there, thinking that Chen was an obscene. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a male assassin whose strength was on par with a level A hero, was about to ambush Zero's residence and capture the girl. But his action was immediately caught by Zero, who immediately hit him with his flagship weapon. Knowing that he could not defeat Zero with his strength, the man then injected something into his body, which then turned him into a monstrous monster whose strength was equivalent to a level S hero. But no matter how hard the man tried to beat Zero, the man still couldn't land a punch on Zero's body. After immobilizing the man, Zero then went and said not to bother him and the girl anymore. However, because the man threatened to kill Mumu and his sister, Zero no longer cared about the rules that forbade fellow heroes to kill each other, and killed the man immediately. A few days later, Miss Dong gathered Zero and his team at the place where Miss Dong was planning to capture Ouyang Rui and his gang at once. Chen and the others looked excited, especially when Miss Dong told them that they would also be helped by the A-level hero named Xiao Yi, as well as the Muscle League. Long story short, Zero and his team were prepared to carry out their plans in a designated place. The battle finally took place, where Chen returned to face a female killer who had infiltrated his house. Meanwhile, Miss Dong goes head-to-head with Ouyang Rui, while Zero will fight Gon, who injected their experimental serum, which was also used by the assassin that Zero had killed before. On the other hand, Xiao Yi and Yan Qing seemed to have a hard time dealing with the sniper attacks that made their moves difficult. Likewise, Miss Dong, whose strength could not match that of Ouyang Rui, ended up lying helpless. Meanwhile, even though he had used the power-boosting serum, Gon still had a hard time dealing with Zero, who was indeed very strong and immediately knocked the man down with just a few hits. Zero is annoyed with Gon, who has used innocent children to be his experimental subjects, then beats Gon to a pulp. Elsewhere, Chen manages to melt the heart of the female killer who is about to kill him and make her side with him. Meanwhile, Miss Dong, who was in a state of urgency, was finally saved by Zero. Ouyang Rui then re-injected the serum into Zero's face. However, Zero was able to easily withstand his attack with one hand and then threw it into the air. Ouyang Rui didn't just stay still and immediately launched a deadly attack at Zero. But the attack didn't work on Zero, and Ouyang Rui was finally defeated. Likewise with the sniper, who was defeated by Xiao Yi. The next day, Zero then visited his friend who was being treated in the hospital after the fight last night. Yanqing seems to be getting closer to Xiao Yi, while Chen seems to be familiar with the female assassin named Feivu who is now his maid. Miss Dong then suggested that they all take special training to increase their strength. But Zero refuses to join the training, because he thinks it's too much trouble. Hearing this, his friends immediately became irritated and forced Zero to attend training. Zero then said that they wouldn't be able to defeat him, even if they attacked him all at once. Feeling slighted by Zero, Miss Dong and the others then challenged Zero to fight with them all at once.